courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV channel and YouTube channel. VK1WIA National News, wireless weather and radio sport is next.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor, VK4BAT, who does the identifications used here on VK1WIA National News. I'm Graham, VK4BB, with the news this week, and we kick off with amateur radio in the community. You know, one of the things we hams don't know how to do, usually, is obtain publicity. We seem to sit back and think, oh, everybody knows what's happening. Everybody knows what time our hamfest's on. Everybody knows we have a hamfest each year. Why should I tell people? Why? You have to ask that question. Anyway, one guy who's done it the right way, this week in particular, and I must say, every week without fail, sends us a copy of, well, Backscatter Monthly and his local weekly news in text, is Gavin, VK4ZZ. So back to amateur radio in the community. A lot of opportunities exist for amateur radio clubs to raise community awareness through free publicity. The opportunity doesn't always need be chased. Now, sometimes, if you're lucky, it lands in your lap. Take the example of what happened recently to the Townsville Amateur Radio Club. The club has participated in the Community Information Centre Townsville-produced community directory for years. Then, out of the blue, representatives from the centre contacted the TARC Club to see if they could get someone to go on air with the local ABC radio station as part of their Do You Know Townsville segment with Michael Clark, which goes to air every Thursday on 630 kHz after 8:30am. Now, thanks to Gavin, VK4ZZ, here's an excerpt from that program which went to air Thursday, Feb 24.
Tell us about what your club does.
Well, the Townsville Amateur Radio Club, amongst providing a bit of a venue for everybody to meet up and talk technology, radio and everything else. The club also holds assessment sessions for people who want to get their amateur radio licence. We provide a bit of communication support from time to time for organisations who hold events that don't normally have mobile phone coverage and socialise as well, and our members experiment through the wonderful world of amateur radio.
And that experimentation must be a lot of fun. What sorts of things do you do?
Well, it's a very varied hobby, amateur radio. You can get involved on the air from anything from Morse code right up to the latest modes of operating which use computers and techniques that are also used to communicate with faraway satellites.
And thanks, Gavin, for sending us in that clip. Now, talking of publicity, don't forget the excellent video version of this WIA National News Service produced by VK5BD Bevan. Through the week, 2 comments received by non-hams, who I must admit have a kind of connection to ham radio, however. The comments received on the quality and professionalism of the news. Terminology may have been a little strange to them, but they both appreciated how it was all strung together, both video and audio-wise. Now, many an old-timer will recall Alan Shaw-Smith, VK4 Sugar Sugar, author of Halcyon Days, the history of early VK4 ham radio, and whose name is kept alive in the annual WIA AGM Awards, the award for journalism. One of Sugar Sugar's sons, Ian, is partner of a past producer for Brisbane rock radio giant FM 104. His partner, Chris Thalander, was one who saw the post of the YouTube ATV version, watched and complimented us. The other who made contact is the widow of VK4 FPJT. For FPJT, Paul Turner was also involved as a radio and TV host in Brisbane and the Gold Coast in the 70s right through to about 2010 or 12. Mulling Turner sent us a note saying it looked a job well done. So, do yourself a favour. Make sure you watch the ATV or YouTube version which Bevan gets out by 9 a.m. every Sunday. The link we like, is in the text version. But all you have to do is go to YouTube and Google VK1WIA or even VK5BD. Well worth your time. And now joining us on WIA National News, our President, Scott Williams.
Many thanks, Graham. And greetings to all listeners of the WIA broadcast this week. On behalf of the WIA Board of Directors, this is WIA President Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and I hope this announcement finds you and your family safe and well. Just a quick message this week from me. Many would be aware that the WIA offers all WIA-affiliated clubs access to a group buying arrangement for public liability insurance. The amount of WIA-affiliated clubs that participate allow the WIA to go out to the insurance market through a broker and obtain a group discount or reduce premiums that would otherwise not be able to be obtained. WIA-affiliated clubs are able to choose liability amounts of 10 million or 20 million, and a fee is charged subject to the state or territory in which the club is located, and a fee per member. It should be noted that the WIA does not provide any advice on insurance, and this is left to the appointed incumbent insurance broker, Annis Group Pty Limited. It should also be noted that the WIA or any person associated with the WIA, other than the insurance broker or their underwriters, do not receive any commission or financial benefit. This benefit is provided by the WIA as a service to its affiliated clubs. There are some important dates looming where all clubs must submit their application with all details by the 11th of March this year. All new policies will commence on the 1st of April this year. The WIA apologises for the delays this year in getting all information out to the clubs. This was delayed due to our broker having difficulties in getting several different quotes from the market. There is no doubt globally the insurance industry and its underwriters are under considerable pressure, and it took a little longer than anticipated to obtain competitive quotations. All clubs have received a letter from the WIA this week outlining the process, and should there be any questions at all, please email Bruce in the National Office on bruce@nationaloffice.wia.org.au. Some further information will also be posted on the WIA website. That's it for me this week. I look forward to talking to you on air soon. Best regards, Scott, VK3KJ.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
Hi, and yes, this is the international news with thanks to IARU, RSGB, RAC, Southgate Amateur Radio Club, ARRL, NZART, EHAM, Amateur Radio Newsline, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. 3 Yankee Zero Bouvet D Expedition confirms departure date. The 3Y0J Bouvet Island D Expedition has confirmed January 6, 2023 as its date of departure on board the vessel SV Marama. The D Expedition will make the second most wanted DXCC entity available for the first time in several years. It's complex to plan the logistics of such a huge project like the 3Y0J Bouvet D Expedition, which involves many parties, the D Expedition announced this week. The new date is mainly related to the Marama vessel logistics, but will also enable us to return to Cape Town in late February 2023. The 3Y0J team also confirmed that the D Expedition will run for 44 days overall, with a contingency week for added flexibility. We've contracted 22 days at Bouvet Island, and it means we will spend more than 3 weeks at Bouvet, the announcement said. RSGB launched Queen's Platinum Jubilee page. The RSGB has launched a new set of web pages to draw together the RSGB's activities for Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. More activities are planned, and RSGB will be adding details to this web section over the coming weeks. You can find all the information in one place on rsgb.org/Jubilee. In news from Region 2, Cuba's communications regulator inspects FRC. The Cuban Ministry of Communications, MINCOM, has held an inspection of the 16 branches of the National Amateur Radio Society, FRC. This was reported to the president of the FRC, Pedro Rodriguez Perez, Charlie Oscar II Romeo Papa, by Deputy Minister Ana Julia Marina Lopez, who announced the objectives and work schedule of this visit. As specified in the official documents that were issued, the 16 branches of the FRC and an important group of radio clubs from different territories of the country were subject to the state inspection during the days set for its implementation. In other news, Erie radio amateur in court. The Erie Times news reports on the case of a 61-year-old amateur radio operator who's been accused of making bogus weather emergency reports on ham radio over several months in 2021. Authorities also accused him of threatening to assault other radio operators who told him to stop and of threatening to place a bomb in an Erie apartment building where he lives. He was charged in October with airing the false weather reports and making the bomb threat. While awaiting his preliminary hearing in that case, authorities allege he broadcast threats to place bombs in buildings, including the Erie Police Station and the Erie County Courthouse, according to information in a new criminal complaint filed on February 14. For VK1WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Weird and wonderful. I'm John, VK4JJW. Mon Dieu! French parent kills cell service for an entire town to stop the kids from surfing. Hackaday has written how technical skills meant that once fixing the computer problems of elderly relatives was a regular occurrence. Over the last few years, this has been joined by another request of our time, friends with teenage children requesting help configuring their routers such that internet access is curtailed when the kids should be sleeping. In France, a desperate parent took more extreme measures, buying a wideband frequency jammer to ensure les petits anges can't waste the night away on social media sites through their cellular connections. It had the intended effect, but sadly, it also interrupted cellular coverage over a wide area. The French spectrum regulator, ANFR, sent in their investigators, and now the unfortunate parent faces the prospect of up to 6 months imprisonment and €30,000 fine for owning and using a device that's illegal in France. A cursory search of everybody's favourite online electronics bazaars will find plenty of these devices, so perhaps what's surprising is that we don't see more of these devices, even if it's not the first tale of interference tracking that we've seen. Judging by the strategies our friends with kids take, we'd suggest meanwhile to the unfortunate French person that they simply equip their kids with restricted data plans.
Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Hello there, and now contest-wise 2022. March is the John Moyle Memorial Field Day, 19th and 20th of March. Harry Angel Memorial 80-minute sprint, Saturday 7th of May 2022. 10 hours UTC to 11:46 UTC. The Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest, Saturday evening 14th May between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 80 metres. Sunday afternoon 15 May between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 40 metres. International CQ Pride Contest June 4 to 6.
VA 2022 Pride on the air for Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. VA 2022 Pride, the special event station for Pride events throughout Australia, was on the air last month for the Melbourne Midsummer Festival, and we have made over 300 contacts. All confirmed contacts are eligible for a unique limited edition QSL card. On Saturday, March 5, the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras will take over the Sydney Cricket Ground Stadium with the annual Mardi Gras Parade. VA 2022 Pride will be on the air all weekend, March 4 to March 6, with another unique QSL card available for all confirmed contacts. Activity will be mainly on HF via FT8. SSB operation will also take place as conditions and operator availability allow. VA 2022 Pride celebrates LGBT Pride on the air for all major Pride events throughout the year, organised by Pride Radio Group, an international group that aims to further acceptance and inclusion for underrepresented groups in amateur radio. For more information, look up VA 2022 Pride on qrz.com.
The ARRL Worldwide Digital Contest will debut at 1800 hours UTC on June 4, ending 23:59 hours on June 6, 2022. All non-rigid modes are permitted. Permitted bands are 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, 10 and 6 metres, and there will be 2 power categories. Up to 5 watts PEP output, up to 100 watts PEP output. VK Shires Contest 11 June 2022. WIA VHF UHF Field Day Winter 2022. 0200 hours UTC Saturday 25 June through 0159 hours UTC Sunday 26 June. DX window. AAW 2022. The 19th Antarctic Activity Week has been taking place all this week and ends today, local East Coast time at 10 a.m. or 0000 hours UTC, between February 21 and 27. All radio amateurs, OMs and SWLs around the world, clubs and organisations, as well as other important groups and individual operators worldwide, are invited to join and share with them in this initiative. Purpose of AAW 2022 has been to increase worldwide interest around the Antarctic continent and its related matters, with the aim of staying close to the researchers and personnel who are spending their time away from home and families, studying the Antarctic life and its secrets. An additional purpose is to share that nations and organisations are doing to protect the still non-contaminated corner of the world, and to share a worldwide message of peace. Spanish special event. Members of the Session Comercial URE San Fernando EA7URF will activate the special call sign EG 485 FIM this weekend to celebrate the 485th anniversary of the Spanish Naval Infantry. This on various HF, VHF and UHF bands and on all possible modes. A commemorative QSL card will be available. QSL via EA7URF direct by the Bureau EQSL or LOTW. Austral Islands. JSEC SP5EAQ, who is still expected to be active as FO/SP5EAQ and TX5AQ from Rimadar Island between March 2nd and 30th, has announced that Air France has cancelled his flight from Warsaw to Paris, the only one providing feasible PCR COVID test schedule on the way to Polynesia. He is currently looking for another solution, aiming a stopover in Paris for the tests. Stay tuned. Cape Verde. D44DX and D4CW from Sal Island IOTA AF086 is on air until March 2nd on 8 to the 10 metres using CW and SSB. QSL to home call DJ5QW. Netherlands. Members of Veron's section of Mid and North Limburg are QRV with special call sign PI75LIM during all of 2022 to celebrate their 75th anniversary. QSL via Bureau. Awards. British now for St Patrick's special event. Hop to it. St Patrick's Day is fast approaching, and here is our old mate, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, with the details.
Amateurs and shortwave listeners around the world have signed up to celebrate St Patrick's Day and vie for special awards during the 48 hours between the 16th and 18th of March. Organisers of the special St Patrick's Award event have created a web page with details that include categories in which radio operators and listeners can compete and explanations of how they can qualify for awards. All participants need to visit the web page and register if they plan to apply for an award. All awards are available as downloadable PDFs after the event has concluded. Stations in Ireland, Canada and the United States are among those who have already begun registering. The website lists when they will be on the air and in what modes, including DMR, PSK and even on the Ham Shack hotline. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Thanks, Jeremy. Now the website is stpatricksaward.com. That's stpatricksaward, all one word, .com. Beacons. VK7RST back on air. Please note the GPS-locked digital beacons VK7RST on 50.297, 144.470 and 432.470 MHz are back on the air from Snug and are horizontally polarised and put out about 20 watts each. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news with Bruce, VK3FFF.
And a very good day to you. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, ATV. Every pixel tells a story. ARIS School Contact broadcast on QO100. Gary, ZS6YI, was approached by AMSAT DL to take their live stream YouTube transmission and retransmit it on the QO100 DATV satellite. There were to be musical contributions by the school choir, and Mr. Volker Schmidt, head of Mission Cosmic Kiss of DLR, will deliver the welcome address and presentation of the program. Mrs. Boland, the headmistress of the Erasmus Gymnasium, and Mr. Hulleman, the mayor of Denslingen, will also deliver greetings. Matthias, DD1US, will do a presentation on the ARIS Radio Contact with the ARIS Radio Contact following. A great extension of the ARIS project, so let's hope all went according to plan. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, CW. Morse code in Hackspace magazine. Mike Bedford, G4AEE, writes about Morse code on pages 84 to 89 of the March 2022 edition of Hackspace magazine, issue 52, which is available as a free PDF. The extensive article gives suggestions on how to learn Morse, covers Morse keys and paddles, and mentions how you can decode Morse automatically using your PC and multi-PSK software. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Final Frontier. NAIF-1 EO88 celebrates a 5th birthday in orbit. NAIF-1 EO88 was launched in 2017 from India and was a part of a world record launch as the flight carried 104 spacecraft into orbit. The transmitter was autonomously activated around 4:47 UTC, and the first signals were received and decoded a few minutes later by KB6LTY. And within a few hours, more than 250 stations around the world had submitted telemetry reports to the data warehouse. After more than 27,500 orbits of the Earth, the spacecraft continues to function nominally. It switches between high-power telemetry when in daylight to low-power telemetry and transponder when in eclipse. USAT-1, a chess-playing ham radio satellite. Colin Butler, writing to the ICQO podcast, says intensive work is underway to make USAT-1 available before the end of the year. If all goes according to plan, USAT-1 will launch aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral in October 2022. USAT-1 is based on the architecture used in the Genesis, ESAT-2 and Hades missions, but will include significant improvements, such as a 32-bit computer compared to the 8-bit computers of the previous satellites, and improvements in the mechanisms of deployment of antennas and batteries. As for its functionalities, it will have a VHF-UHF FM repeater and FSK frames, like its predecessors. This will allow voice QSOs and digipeating of AX25 and APRS frames. One of the projects that is confirmed is a chess game that will allow radio amateurs to play, having as an opponent the onboard computer sending FSK frames with the movements, to which the onboard computer will answer in its telemetry. Several radio amateurs are working on the project, and if it is completed by the time the satellite is due to be delivered, it will be included. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, 5 MHz. Paul Gaskell, G4MWO, editor of the 5 MHz newsletter, says that publication is now celebrating its 10th birthday and is available for free download from the link we like in this week's WIA National News. This edition includes 5 MHz news from 6 countries, Malaysia MCOM response, 10 years of the 5 MHz newsletter, Exercise Blue Ham 22-1, World of 5 MHz Autumn Winter 2022, and the Wiki 60-metre band page. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, IOTA, OC 228. VK1WIA was planning to do 1 day, possibly 2 days activity of OC 228 Granite Island this weekend, the last week of February, and maybe into the first week of March, dependent on weather. Like previously, activity will be from local sunrise till dusk, mostly CW on 14, 21 and 28. So, with no other info to date, I suggest you tune and listen for Andy straight after the local WIA news. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Old Timers. You can't get much older than this. W2AN 1BCG will be on the air using the Antique Wireless Association replica of the 1921 transmitter used in the transatlantic test. The QSO party begins on the 26th of February at 2300 UTC. AWA operators at the museum site in Bloomfield, New York, will begin calling CQ on 1.821 MHz using CW. They will listen on or about that frequency for callers. No QSLs are required for a certificate confirming your QSO with W2AN 1BCG. Visit 1bcg.org for more information. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. Raynet deployed during Storm Eunice. Gloucester, Bristol and North Somerset Raynet groups were deployed at 500 hours on Friday 18th of February 2022 as Storm Eunice hit the UK. 13 other groups were on alert and on standby, ready for deployment as necessary. Tragedy and Petropolis, radio amateurs provide support. Brazil's LABRE, L-A-B-R-E, reports on the amateur radio response to the landslides and flash flooding that hit the Brazilian city of Petropolis on February 15th. The tragedy accounts for more than 100 fatalities. It was a very large volume of rain, 240 millimetres, in about 2 hours, the worst since 1932. A group of radio amateurs, organised and trained to act in emergency, was activated. The ROER, R-O-E-R, Network of Emergency Operations of Amateurs. A station was installed in charge of firefighter operations, and an operator with a portable radio was sent to the Civil Action Command at the Civil Defence Headquarters and to the Advanced Fire Station in the Alto da Serra region. In addition to these actions taken, ROER is in charge of maintaining the City Hall's private VHF system, which is meeting the demands of the Municipal Guard, Petropolis Transit Company, Secretary of Civil Defence and Secretary of Health. I'm Bruce, VK3FFF from sunny Bendigo.
What is it we say about this time every week? Wrapping up this edition of WIA National News. That's it. The 2022 social scene. In VK4, Redfest, Saturday, April 9, St Michael's College, Caboolture. In VK5, South Coast Amateur Radio Club's Buy and Sell, Sunday, April 24. And in VK5, Australian Fox Hunting Championship and the SERG Convention. That's at Mount Gambier on the Queen's Birthday weekend in June. I am Graham, VK4BB. See you on Bevan's ATV channel. And also, catch you here, same time next week. Till then, walk softly.
From Australia, This has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.